Assalamualaikum O-Level 2025 students. Tomorrow is your science practical exam. Let's do a quick revision on qualitative analysis. Let's revise together the notes for qualitative analysis that you will get tomorrow. So let's start off with test for anions. In testing for anions, different anions require different reagents. And the anions that you may be tested on tomorrow will be carbonates, chloride, nitrates, as well as sulfates. The reagent that is used to test for carbonate will be acid, and you will expect that carbon dioxide will be produced. You will observe effervescence if carbon dioxide is produced, and you must ensure that you prepare your lime water to bubble the carbon dioxide into the lime water. Once you see a white precipitate being produced, you need to name the gas produced, which is carbon dioxide. The second anion that you may be testing on tomorrow is the chloride ion. How do we know that we are testing on chloride ion? Because you may see the keyword silver nitrate in the steps. And if it's positive, a white precipitate will be produced. To test for nitrate, you'll be asked to test using sodium hydroxide with aluminium foil, and you must warm carefully. If there is nitrate in the sample, you will expect that ammonia gas will be produced. Hence, you need to prepare your damp red litmus paper. If the result is positive, please remember to name the gas ammonia produced. The last anion that you will be testing on is sulfates. The reagent that is used to test for sulfates is barium nitrate. And if there is sulfates, a white precipitate will be produced. Now let's move on to cation test. For cation test, we only use two reagents, either aqueous sodium hydroxide or aqueous ammonia. And the cations that you may be testing on tomorrow are aluminium ion, ammonium ion, calcium ion, copper 2 ion, iron 2 ion, iron 3 ion, and zinc ion. Let's go through each cation. For aluminium ion, if you test with sodium hydroxide, you will see white precipitate, which is soluble in excess to form a colorless solution. But if we test it using aqueous ammonia, the white precipitate will be insoluble in excess. In testing for ammonium ion, we will only test with sodium hydroxide, and you are required to warm the mixture. And you will suspect that ammonia will be produced. Hence, please get ready your damp red litmus paper, which will turn blue if ammonium ion is present. And once again, you must name the gas produced. For calcium ion, when you test with sodium hydroxide, a white precipitate will be produced, which is insoluble in excess. If you test a sample containing calcium ion with aqueous ammonia, there will be no precipitate. Next, copper 2 ion. Copper 2 ion will produce light blue precipitate with both aqueous sodium hydroxide and aqueous ammonia. In excess aqueous sodium hydroxide, the copper 2 hydroxide light blue precipitate will be insoluble, but in excess aqueous ammonia, the light blue precipitate will be soluble to produce a dark blue solution. The next cation is iron 2 ion. It will produce green precipitate insoluble in excess in both sodium hydroxide as well as aqueous ammonia. Same goes with iron 3 ion. It will produce red-brown precipitate insoluble in excess of aqueous sodium hydroxide and aqueous ammonia. The last cation is zinc ion, which will produce white precipitate in both aqueous sodium hydroxide and aqueous ammonia, and in excess of those reagents, the white precipitate will be soluble to form a colorless solution. And the last qualitative analysis and the last item in this qualitative notes is test for gases. Tomorrow, you may be testing on ammonia, which turns damp red litmus paper blue, carbon dioxide, which gives white precipitate with lime water, hydrogen, which pops with a lighted spleen, and oxygen, which relights a glowing spleen. Please take note the difference between a lighted spleen as well as a glowing spleen. A lighted spleen is the one with the flame. A glowing spleen is when, after you have formed the lighted spleen, give it a gentle blow to form the glowing spleens. So these are the 4 gases that you may be tested tomorrow. Whereas for chlorine and sulfur dioxide, these 2 are toxic gases. You may not be testing them during practical, but they may be tested in theory. Hence, other than qualitative analysis, tomorrow you may be tested on perhaps a database question on rate of reaction or energy changes or redox. Or perhaps it's not a database question. Maybe it's another practical that you need to perform on rate of reaction, energy changes, redox. Here's wishing you the very best for tomorrow. Stay calm. Inshallah, you can do it. All the best.